complex, much too complex, too complex, much too complex, too complex, too complex, too complex.
Good evening. My name is James K. Holder II. Some of you may know me as Sir James II, and I'd like to welcome you back to Not on My Watch. As always, I'd like to ask you to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I want you to retweet this and repeat this video. If you're watching, today is April 12th, 2018, and it is Holocaust Remembrance Day. This is a very serious thing for us to keep going and understanding and moving forward as a society, globally, but specifically within the United States as well. Sadly, recent findings that came out in the news today have found that 2 out of 3 millennials do not know what Auschwitz concentration camp is. And moreover, 41% of Americans in general don't understand the significance of that place, that location in world history. And that's tragic. We have to take in account the suffering of peoples of all over the globe into consideration, just so that we don't repeat that as we move forward. And tragically in America, that's something that we have fallen flat on. I think that as we get farther away, people take these sorts of occurrences less seriously, but the reality is there are living Holocaust survivors around now. This is not something that happened so far in the distant past that it couldn't be repeated. And so it's very important to keep that in mind as we move forward. Speaking of millennials, I'd like to wish a happy 18th birthday to David Hogg, the now famous advocate for gun violence resistance from the Parkland shooting. And I'd also like to congratulate Eva Marcel, aka Eva Pickford from America's Next Top Model / The Real Housewives of Atlanta on giving birth to her second child, and also Khloe Kardashian for giving, or Chloe Odom, I don't know what she's going by these days, for giving birth to her first child, I believe, a little girl. Now, this is going to be a tabloid episode of Not on My Watch. Not to say that all episodes of this show aren't tabloid, but that is why I have my tea today as opposed to my coffee, because we're just going to get into it. Now, this week, it's very sad that her baby's daddy, I don't know his name, was found canoodling in New York and traipsing around town with some Instagram model, if you would call her that, on the week that she would have his child. But as we all know, Khloe Kardashian started dating this guy, and he left his pregnant girlfriend to be with her. So I want Khloe to be healthy and happy. I want her child to be healthy and happy, but you're gonna have to work harder to get me to find the sympathy for her in this story. I think that it's kind of unfortunate that it happened so close to the birth, but maybe they'll move forward, maybe they'll get past it, who knows? I think it's really tragic when you have such a public discussion and dialogue about the growth and expansion of your family. I think Kylie actually got this one right, where she just said, okay, no cameras, no one's gonna know, all this other stuff, and then once I'm ready, I will, make it all public. Everyone doesn't get to do that, but kudos to Kylie, because she actually pulled that off, and that's something that she kept a secret, which is something most Kardashians are not very good at. Speaking of pregnancies, congratulations to Cardi B, who announced her pregnancy officially when she and Chadwick Boseman did SNL this past weekend. They were both phenomenal. As you know, I sort of gushed on her album, which was released last Friday. Actually, Thursday. Maybe it was Friday. But her album is really amazing, and she has a lot of amazing things going on in her life right now. So kudos to both of them. Monday started out really interesting with what I call Mueller Crush Monday. where the FBI, on orders of Special Counsel Robert Mueller, raided the home of Trump's attorney, Michael Cohen. Now, Michael Cohen is probably one of the most unsavory figures from the entire 2016 election. Because I remember, there were liars and really, really nasty people in the Trump organization who were his advocates, who were his spokespeople on television, but none more sleazy than Michael Cohen. This was the guy who just would raise his voice, threaten people, threaten to sue, threaten to ruin people's lives if they even mentioned stories about Trump that were in the news, if he was on broadcast. And so it's really great to see that Mueller has really taken a direct hit towards the bulldog of his campaign. I mean, I think there are so many secrets that this man, Michael Cohen, has probably covered up, and none more salacious than what has been surfaced and dropped today. So I'm going to pull up my phone to read. Now, this comes as a story that leaked after the raid on Michael Cohen's home became public, and that a former doorman at Trump's building was paid $30,000 in some cover-up or for a story to discuss things that happened in Trump Tower regarding Donald Trump's love life. And so I'm just going to pull up this quote, and it basically says, "Today I awoke to learn that that a confidential agreement that I had made with AMI, the National Enquirer, with regard to a story about President Trump was leaked to the press. I can confirm that while working at Trump World Tower, I was instructed not to criticize President Trump's former housekeeper due to a prior relationship she had with President Trump, which produced a child." Now, this basically means that Donald Trump is on the Schwarzenegger Express, where he banged a housekeeper, maid, candlestick polisher, whatever you want to refer to this person as. I'm just hoping she's of Mexican descent or from some other shithole country. Because that will further elicit and underscore Donald Trump's hypocrisy. When he made Bill Clinton's past sexual misconduct allegations, front and center news in the campaign of 2016 against Hillary Clinton. Donald Trump is a scuzzbucket. I mean, he's just a sleazy person. He surrounds himself with sleazy people, and the reality is I'm glad to see that all of this stuff is finally coming to light. Now, I was not one to follow the Stormy Daniels situation, primarily because I felt like too many people were taking that opportunity to throw shade at sex workers and people in the adult entertainment industry, which I think is a respectable career. I think, you can't be a society where Pornhub views are the highest of all internet traffic and then claim that someone like Stormy Daniels is an unsavory figure. So I just kind of shied away from that one. But you sleeping with your housekeeper and then instructing all the other people in your building to remain quiet and not criticize the housekeeper because of your special relationship with her, which really amounts to the highest, it's one thing, this is where I get crass, to get a blowjob from an employee who's a consenting adult. All bad, that would be sexual harassment. But Donald Trump having a coital relationship with a domestic while he's married that produced a child, and then further spreading the scandal to other workers in that environment by telling them not to criticize this person's work as they stayed there as an employee, I think that's the ultimate level of distaste. And I will say, Donald Trump is not new to scandal. I mean, there was the Access Hollywood tape, which is what was the root of the entire search and seizure of Cohen's files. But then you had the Stormy Daniels situation, which is still developing. You had multiple allegations of sexual misconduct. You had multiple child rape allegations. There were there was the Trump University scandal. And then to top it all off, you have all of these things that were going on at Mar-a-Lago that have yet to be disclosed, right? Like, we know that there were definitely occurrences of sexual impropriety dealing with his properties, vacation properties, and things like that. But just as president, the sheer amount of time that he's taken off from the office to go golfing or to go discuss things with his wealthy benefactors who, he jacked the price up of membership at Mar-a-Lago and then started having all these private meetings and shindigs where he was having Secret Service and all these other government-funded agencies paying for his security, paying for all these things to happen on our dime as he discloses secrets and state secrets to his friends abroad and whatever else. So it's just really disgusting to see where this is all going. I don't believe that this will be a forefront of discussion on this particular podcast, but the irony that you've got this man who already had 5 kids by 3 babies' mamas, right? Now we're talking about 6 by a 4th. And he was the moral compass. He was the one who was endorsed by evangelicals. Evangelicals need to get their stuff together. Because if this is the moral compass of our country, then somebody needs to learn the difference between magnetic north and true north. Whatever it takes for you to understand that the direction that you're headed in is not a good one, okay? Donald Trump is no more an authority on morals than Bernie Sanders is an authority on how to win elections. And I'm not going to get into Bernie Sanders this episode. I'm really glad at the enthusiasm and support that I got from the last episode featuring Bernie Sanders. He's not relevant to political dialogue in this space. I think he talks a lot more than he probably should. And so when he speaks, I speak back. But Bernie Sanders is just not worth the time to really focus on. And I don't even know that this, umpteenth scandal within the Trump regime is going to make any difference on the political spectrum. Is anyone going to have a different opinion of him based on this? Is he going to lose any support with this disgusting blue-collar slob base? Is he going to make a cameo on the Roseanne Barr show? I don't know. What I do know is that the more time goes on, the more of these types of salacious and disgusting details are going to be revealed. It's just going to peel back like a really nasty, rotten onion. And there are going to be some tears, not on my end, but I just think we have to be focused on what matters and what counts in terms of driving a message towards 2018. And I honestly think that as far as American government and politics and elections go, we have to get above this whole sexual immorality as a disqualifier to serve in office. You can't be gay and be president. You can't have children out of wedlock. These are things that normal-ass Americans do all the time. So on one hand, I'm glad that Donald Trump is very human, but I also think that when you use this as a political ploy to describe how someone's not fit because they do normal shit that normal people do, like Khloe Kardashian does, or like Kylie Jenner does, or like, I don't know, who else sleeps around with other famous people and then has kids by them and then deals with the ramifications. I don't know. Our country has gotten very reality TV, and that's a consequence of having a reality TV president. You end up getting the same types of scandals and the same types of coverage that you would get as if you were covering Black China, who had a fabulous spot on Architectural Digest YouTube channel this week. I'd recommend you all check that out. Moving right along. Today it was announced that Donald Trump is also trying to form a resurgence of support for the TPP. He wants to rejoin the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Now, this is TPP, what most millennials didn't know what it meant. Just like they don't know what Auschwitz is, they didn't know what the acronym TPP stood for. And it led them to paint their faces and attend the Democratic National Convention in Philadelphia and protest Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama and boo them. And they tried to boo Michelle Obama, and then that didn't work because we wasn't having that. But we have a society that is all about the sensationalism of being led by what their demagogue forces tell them to be led by. Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump both waged war against President Barack Obama and the TPP. I don't know why this was. Many would argue that it wasn't really about protecting jobs and the economy for white Americans. It was just about making sure that the wealth transfers and the circles that wealth exchanges hands in the world have a focus on white hands. That the growing economic powerhouse of China and also their influence in certain African nations and the growth of African nations in the economy on the global scale, that that white people don't want to share the power and influence that they have in European countries and also Canada and the United States, that they want to just have that exclusively for themselves. And that's why you had the white power candidates like Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump working so hard against TPP. And now, as of today, you have Trump in a landslide reversal, now changing his position on Barack Obama's, one of Barack Obama's legislative landmarks. I mean, the TPP would have been a huge accomplishment of his, and yet it was made toxic by this white power political force in 2016. So much so that one of Donald Trump's first orders of business as president was to kill TPP. And I remember very distinctly that Bernie Sanders came out and congratulated Donald Trump very early on after his inauguration because of that jab dished to Barack Obama. So you have to understand and question what the motivation of some of these political figures is. Is it simply to weaken and undermine the accomplishments of people like Barack Obama? Or do they really want what's best for the global economy as America relates to it? What is the objective force behind these things? And what allows someone like Donald Trump to change position so quickly on something that he was so adamantly against when he was running? You'd have to ask yourself that, but that's something else that happened today. In another switching of positions, I will have to say that I'm warming up to the idea of Cynthia Nixon's campaign. Now, do I think Cynthia Nixon needs to be elected the governor of New York? Probably not. I just don't believe that she has enough experience to hold a position of so much power in the Trump era. I think if you're going to start out in politics, she's very young as far as politicians go. It would make perfect sense for her to start out as a mayor of a town, state senator, somewhere in the state legislature, maybe even councilwoman, something, just something that predates running for a governorship. That I think is far. But who am I to say that she's not qualified? I wouldn't use those terms. If I have used those terms, I take them back. I think a lot of white politicians like Cynthia Nixon focus on these sexy terms and these sexy concepts of criminal justice reform and making marijuana legal and things like that. And I think those are like shiny button issues, but I think she talks about it from a white privilege standpoint, but more recently, she has come out as far as saying that she believes that marijuana needs to be not only legalized, but that they need to expunge the records of people who were convicted and are in custody and in jail now under nonviolent offenses dealing with marijuana. So if you have both of those together, then now I'm like, okay, I'm listening. I hear you, Cynthia Nixon. I'm very impressed with that position, and I'm impressed that she's leading with that. I think I would like to see her driving this message, and if she continues to drive this message, I might actually throw her a couple of coins to support that campaign, because I think that was one of the places where Hillary Clinton absolutely fell flat on her positions. It's not about the Cynthia versus Hillary Clinton thing at this point. They aren't in the same position. They're not running for the same things. But hell, I'd rather see Hillary Clinton run for governor of New York, or mayor of New York, but that's not happening. So, whatever. Moving right along, I want to say that I have been very excited about what we're doing here at Holder Studio, where we produce not only this show, Not on My Watch, but also The Counter, and also now The Weekend 10. So last week was the first week where I was able to get out all 3 episodes, not necessarily on time, but on the proper days. And I'm just very grateful for all of the watchers and subscribers to the channel. Again, I hope you take this opportunity right now to subscribe to the channel, and definitely make sure that, it's just so much easier if when I post a new video that there's a number of people who automatically watch it and share it, and that helps me a lot. I hope that you all have checked out the Money Saving Morning Routine series. There's 5 episodes of recipes that teach you how to save at least $10 or more within 10 minutes of a morning routine over having to get your coffee, breakfast, and lunch via takeout or drive-through or delivery. So look out for that and make sure to check those past episodes out. New episodes of The Counter are going to start running very soon. I want to get a good handle on taping and the editing so that I can put out a real series and have episodes come out consistently. So that's what the holdup is on that. But until such time that we start airing the episodes, I will definitely be putting out demos and fresh content that you can use to help have healthier meals available to you and your family, and also save money in the process. There's just so much to tackle in the realm of food scarcity and healthy and affordable meals and home economics. And I really think that there's a space there for everyone to enjoy and learn something from this series. So I hope you'll check that out. I also want to thank specifically everyone who donated within the last week to support The Counter in the new series, and also just out of response to the last episode of Not on My Watch. I'm so grateful to all of you for watching and supporting as our friends of the show. So as always, if you'd like to become a friend of the show, please make a donation of $1 or more to the PayPal link above, www.paypal.me/jkh2. That is the best way to support the show. There's also opportunities for you to submit you can contribute via Amazon e-gift card by sending to my email address, which is jkh2photo@gmail.com. But the PayPal link is just the easiest way because it gives me a very thorough printout of who donated what and when, and I can compile it and put together the appropriate thank you. So that's the best way to go about doing that. With that, I'd like to thank our friends of the show. There are a lot of friends this week, so bear with me. There's Joyce S., Sarah S., Derek P., Elizabeth C., an anonymous donor I'll call J. There's Faye M., E. Kelly F., Cynthia P., Donald C., Douglas A., Greg C., Lori D., Matthew D., Carla H., Arshel B., Delisha M., Stacy B., Catherine L., Hill G., Karen N., Lynn K., Cynthia B., and also Pleiades M., and lastly, Barry G. So thank you all for making the time in your schedules to watch the 3 shows that air on this YouTube channel. That's The Counter, episodes air on Tuesdays. Then there's this show, Not on My Watch, episodes air on Thursdays, and newly The Weekend 10, which episodes air. It's a 10-minute show that I'm just starting out. Episode 3 will be posted tomorrow afternoon, evening. So please look forward to all those as we continue to move forward. And I hope that you continue to like, share, comment, subscribe, retweet, and repeat this. And as always, remember to relax, relate, and resist. Thank you.
Too complex, much too complex, too complex, much too complex, too complex, too complex, too complex.